Good evening. This is Eswatini TV News at 8, read to you by myself, Notile Sitole, alongside Nemakabiso Nkambule. First up, let's have a look at our headlines. His Majesty King Mswati III has held private talks with the newly appointed United Kingdom Minister for Africa, Vicky Ford, at Lutitsini residence. His Majesty King Mswati III has thanked the United Kingdom for strengthening its ties with the Kingdom of Eswatini through the British government's new foreign policy strategy, Global Britain. The Minister of Labour and Social Security has announced that there will be no scholarship selection interviews for the 2021-2022 pre-service tertiary and education loan applicants to minimize the spread of COVID-19. And now the news in detail. His Majesty King Mswati III has held private talks with the newly appointed United Kingdom Minister for Africa, Vicky Ford, at Lutitsini residence. The Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini was part of the private talks.
Your Majesty, good morning.
Yes, morning. How are you?
I'm very well. It's a delight to be in your beautiful country.
His Majesty King Mswati III received the United Kingdom Minister for Africa, Vicky Ford, who arrived at Lutitsini Royal Residence alongside the United Kingdom High Commissioner to Eswatini, Simon Boyden. The minister is in Eswatini to hold talks with His Majesty the King, and as part of her visit, she officially opened the new British High Commission in Ezulwini on Tuesday evening. The minister was appointed 2 weeks ago, and she has been visiting some African countries since her appointment. Her post is under the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office in the British government, and her responsibilities include sub-Saharan Africa, economic development, and oversight of international financial institutions. Eswatini is set to benefit immensely from the Global Britain, the United Kingdom's foreign policy strategy, which seeks to reinvest in relations between the United Kingdom and friendly countries like Eswatini, and to further reaffirm the United Kingdom's presence on the global stage. On the news, I am Sandile Makanya reporting with Temba Mamba at Lutitsini Royal Residence.
His Majesty King Mswati III has thanked the United Kingdom for strengthening its ties with the Kingdom of Eswatini through the British government's new foreign policy strategy, Global Britain. The King was speaking during the official opening of the new United Kingdom High Commission in Ezulwini. His Majesty was represented by His Royal Highness Prince Sihlang Sempi.
The High Commission of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, the United Kingdom
The United Kingdom has delivered on a promise that was made by the British Prime Minister 3 years ago when he was Foreign Secretary. The Kingdom of Eswatini formally welcomed the United Kingdom Minister for Africa, Vicky Ford, who opened the new High Commission alongside the United Kingdom High Commissioner to Eswatini, Simon Boyden. His Majesty King Mswati III, speaking through his representative, His Royal Highness Prince Sihlang Sempi, expressed delight at the inclusion of Eswatini in the United Kingdom's foreign policy strategy, Global Britain, which focuses on global recovery from COVID-19, climate change and trade. His Majesty the King said Eswatini has benefited immensely from the British government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
We wish to commend the UK for her investment in the development and manufacture of the Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine and supporting our COVAX facility, a United Nations initiative which has benefited many low and middle-income countries, including Eswatini. Through this facility, coupled with generous support from our friends and development partners, the Kingdom has been able to receive thousands of vaccine doses that are currently being administered to our people, with a target of reaching herd immunity by the end of 2021. We trust this exercise will add the required impetus to our post-COVID-19 economic recovery strategy.
His Majesty said developing nations like Eswatini continue to be affected by the effects of climate change. The King says the climate change issue should be addressed urgently.
Your Excellency, your arrival in the country comes in the aftermath of a devastating cyclone Eloise, which left major destruction to national infrastructure and people's property. This is no doubt one example of the effects of climate change, and it underscores the urgent need to address this issue, which continues to have a greater impact on less developed countries with low carbon emission like Eswatini. We are encouraged to learn of your government's commitment to working with the United Nations and Commonwealth to urge the major carbon emitters to take faster action in bringing about emission cuts, set net zero targets, and meet the $100 billion a year climate finance target that they agreed to at the COP summit in Paris.
His Majesty further urged participants of the upcoming Climate Change Summit COP26, scheduled for November, to ensure that it concludes with the desired funding to aid developing countries to deal with the effects of climate change. The United Kingdom Minister for Africa said the new trade partnership agreement between Eswatini and other SACU member states and the United Kingdom guarantees a vast array of opportunities for the Kingdom of Eswatini.
A third huge priority of our work here in Eswatini and in Africa more broadly is supporting economic growth and social development so that African countries can bounce back from COVID and meet the demands and aspirations of their growing population. And part of that solution is development assistance. And with the third largest aid budget in the G7 as a percentage of GNI, the UK continues to be a leading donor. Equally important is realising the potential of local economies, in particular by unleashing the strengths of women and young people through education and job creation. But another part of the solution is helping countries like yours and other African countries to trade your way to prosperity. And that's why our new economic partnership agreement with Eswatini and its neighbours in the Southern African Customs Union is so important. And I'd like to thank your government, all of your members, in particular the Minister for Trade, Commerce and Industry, for enabling ratification of the agreement earlier this year, because it will guarantee duty-free and quota-free access to the UK markets from traders from your country, but will also help boost trade across the region.
I am Sandile Makanya reporting with Zweli Masugu at the British High Commission in Ezulwini.
Mafuteni Member of Parliament, who doubles as the Minister of Education and Training, Lady Howard, has asked the business community to come to St. Joseph's School's rescue. The more than 100-year-old school is not in good shape and needs rehabilitation. Howard says the school, which primarily caters for the disabled, needs intervention.
St. Joseph's School, popularly known as Mzimbofu, which is an education center for both the disabled and the able-bodied, was built in 1914. As the community around the school develops through infrastructure, the education center is lagging far behind. Mafuteni Member of Parliament, who is also the Minister of Education and Training, Lady Howard, says the school is a shadow of its former self and needs to be saved. Howard has made a cry to the business community to assist the school.
Labaludzinga kakhulu lolusito bosisi wethu bobhuti wethu labadzinga ukuthi sonke sithi khandle ngabo. Uma uthi uthatha kubuka sekufanele ukuthi usale kuba neluhlelo vele lesolutawubuka umzimbofu. As bengikhuluma nana head teacher la ngikhuluma nana mfundisi ngikhuluma nana nabo bonke nje labasebenta la uyakhanza lokuthi dineng letinto letishodako lokufanele ukuthi ngabe tikhona la Mzimbofu mane kude.
In 2015, local media reports were to the effect that the school was in the brink of closing due to finances. Ignoring the calls for the school to be saved will have serious consequences for pupils and the country. These include destroying the future of pupils who will no longer get an education. Without education, hunger is a reality, and it will water down all efforts made by the country in terms of disability issues. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, Babane.
The Minister of Labour and Social Security has announced that there will be no scholarship selection interviews this year for the 2021-2022 pre-service tertiary and education loan applicants to minimize the spread of COVID-19. Speaking at Lobamba, the Minister said aspiring students will be selected through the scholarship loan application system and awarded provisional scholarships.
The Minister of Labour and Social Security, Pilar Buthelezi, says his ministry has introduced some changes in the 2021-2022 pre-service tertiary and education loan applications. Buthelezi says there will be no scholarship selection interviews this year.
Litiko libeselisebenzisa indlela yokuthi labantwana sibahlunge kule system lebe ba-apply kiyo ngekubuka lokuthi bayawamitha onke lama requirements.
He says aspiring students will be selected through the scholarship loan application system to minimize the spread of COVID-19. The minister continues to say provisional scholarship award letters are ready and will be distributed to institutions shortly to avoid incidences where students are forced to drop out of tertiary after learning that they have not been awarded scholarships. He reminds students to bring the following when they come to sign their student loan agreements: a completed scholarship application form, passport size photo, certified copy of acceptance letter, certified copy of O-level results, certified copy of birth certificate, certified copy of ID, certified copy of graded text certificate, a police clearance, a certified copy of death certificate where applicable, and a certified copy of citizenship. The minister says they are looking to sponsor about 5,000 new students. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ndlangamandla with Muzi Mkhonda, Lobamba.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, has officially opened the Luxy Interior Store in Babane, which is owned by Eswatini-born Taiwanese businesswoman Kathy Liu. The minister says such businesses help uplift the country's economy as they help create much-needed employment opportunities while further strengthening Eswatini's trade ties with other countries.
Taiwanese businesswoman Kathy Liu, an owner of Luxy Interior's interior design store, was born in Eswatini and has spent almost her entire life in the kingdom. She says she long realized the need for a one-stop shop for interior designing in the kingdom. Hence, she decided to open Luxy Interiors. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, says micro-enterprises like Luxy Interiors are good for the country's economic growth.
The government of the Kingdom of Eswatini further commits to ensure that such businesses will get the support deserved by improving the ease of doing business as we continue to strive for a conducive business environment.
Mbabane East Member of Parliament and Minister of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs Harris Bulunga says his constituency is for the establishment of as many businesses as possible.
To us it's a gain because definitely I want to believe that the young people who have been employed here are part of the constituency and they also belong to the youth category. So it is in a way helping us as a constituency and also government.
The ambassador of the Republic of China on Taiwan, Jeremy Liang, says there is indeed a niche for interior designing in Eswatini.
Eswatini is a young market with a lot of potential. A trendy top-of-line furniture shop and interior design. I think this is exactly Eswatini need to take our life, our daily life to the next level.
The raw materials used to produce furniture at Luxy Interiors is imported from other countries, but the cabinets and fittings are produced locally. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbongwa Dube in Babane.
The Ministry of Public Works and Transport has launched the Labour-based Livelihood Support Project. Speaking during the launch at Nhlambeni Nkundla, the Principal Secretary in the Ministry, Kangezwe Mabuza, has said the project will support livelihoods in a participatory manner, thereby building partnerships that drive the country's development.
The commissioning of the Ministry of Public Works and Transport's Livelihoods project was done at Nhlambeni Nkundla in the Manzini region by the Principal Secretary Kangeziwe Mabuza. The Principal Secretary says the public infrastructure goes a long way in preserving the needs of communities. She says the ministry has engaged local authorities about the project and they were the ones who identified community members who will work under this project.
Emajaha netintombi nabomake nabobabe sasenda nje kuhlanganisa babe 15 nangaphosisi ngendzawo.
Mabuza continues to say 15 community members will work under the project. She further says the project will run in 3 regions, which are Lubombo, Manzini and Hoho. She says in due time the Shiselweni region will also benefit. World Food Programme Resident Coordinator Deepak Shah says their organization felt the need to support the project after seeing the challenges faced by eMaSwati.
Looking at 2021 and all the effects, the negative effects of COVID-19 and the unrest that is happening, there was need for support because the food insecurity of the people have increased. For example, as I was saying earlier, just before the COVID crisis, we had an approximate of 205,000 food insecure people in this country.
Nonhlanhla Tabedze, who was representing the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Dinkhundla Administration and Development, Nonhlanhla Dlamini says such projects show government's commitment to support eMaSwati at grassroots level. She says the ministry is quite excited about the project as it is an extension of the decentralization program. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Public Works and Transport says they are hoping that all regions will benefit from the project in due time. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ndlangamandla with Vuminkosi Nzinisa Nhlambeni.
Sikhumbuzo Fagutse, who is the investigating police officer in the Victor Gamete murder case, has told the court that Sipho Shongwe and Sandile Tsotso Zigalala, aka Tsotso Lutango, went to Lunzi to identify their escape route. Fagutse has also told the court that Shongwe first visited the trio of Tsotso, Mbuso Ncaza Nkosi and Siphiwe Tatangubane in Babane before leaving for Lunzi. Fagutse has made these submissions in court when continuing with his evidence.
When Sipho Shongwe's murder trial resumed on Wednesday at the High Court, police investigator Sikhumbuzo Fagutse continued with his testimony. Fagutse has told the court that on the 12th of January 2018, Shongwe went to Mbabane to visit Sandile Tsotso, Zigalala Lutango, Mbuso Ncaza Nkosi and Siphiwe Tatangubane. The investigator has narrated to the court that on that day, Tsotso and Shongwe left for Lunzi to find an escape route to be used after completing the assignment. Fagutse has also narrated that this is proven by that one of Shongwe's mobile numbers was picked by the Makolokolo MTN tower and later by a tower at Lunzi. Fagutse has submitted to the court that Shongwe used about 10 mobile numbers, which he used in turns in around 4 mobile phones. He also narrated that 2 of the mobile phone numbers were used to contact the 3 other suspects in the matter. Fagutse has further submitted to the court that one of the mobile numbers only operated for 1 day, that being the 11th of January 2018, while the other one operated from the 11th to the 14th of the same month. Fagutse has told the court that they linked all these numbers to Shongwe because they all used the 4 mobile phones also used by the accused's official mobile numbers. It was his submission that the mobile phone numbers used for the operation, as he termed them, and Shongwe's official mobile numbers used the same cell phone towers at times. He has submitted that this showed him that these numbers were used by the same person who traveled with the mobile phones at once. Fagutse has told the court that one of the official mobile numbers was a contract number registered to Sipho Shongwe as the director of VTrack Investment. He further told the court that during their interview with Shongwe following his arrest, the accused gave them the contract number as his official mobile number. This matter is expected to continue on Thursday before Judge Nkosinati Masego. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, High Court.
The country's agricultural marketing information system, AMIS website, has been given a Siswati name, UK-Eswatini. The rebranded website and logo were unveiled by National Agricultural Marketing Board NAMPO CEO Siphepiso Dlamini after the website was given its name and logo by University of Eswatini students who won a competition to give the platform a new identity.
The two University of Eswatini students, Samgeliso Nxumalo and Duduzo Dlamini, outsmarted over 150 young entrants who had joined in NAMPO's competition for coming up with a Siswati name and logo for the Agricultural Market Information Systems website. Nxumalo came up with the Siswati name UK-Eswatini for the website, while Dlamini designed the platform's new logo. NAMPO CEO Siphepiso Dlamini explains why this website is important.
I just want to express how excited we are of indoctrinating this to our youth and the Swazis overall for several reasons. AMIS is packed with a lot of potential. In AMIS, the youth in particular will be able to see the different type of commodity lines that are produced, the volumes that are involved, and the potential in the value chains where they can make business.
After receiving their awards, the two students explained why they joined the competition in the first place and why they think agriculture is ideal for the country's youth.
If my translator always as the one with knowledge, which is AMIS is about Loati.
The website has had over 77,000 hits so far. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbongwa Dube at Emafini in Babane.
And now we'll have a look at our financial markets.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Good evening once again. You are still watching Eswatini TV. Let's have a look at our sports news. The Eswatini Football Association has announced that there will be no relegation in the National First Division. The Chief Executive Officer, Frederick Mngomezulu, says this is because there were no games in the regions. Mngomezulu was speaking in a press conference in Lubamba.
When the 2020-2021 season concluded, it was still undecided if there will be relegation in the First Division, as there were no teams to fill those places since the regional leagues were not active. The Football Association has finally came out to announce that indeed there will be no relegation, as they cannot promote any teams from the Super League.
There will be no relegation from the National First Division League to the Regional Super League. Likewise, there will be no promotions from the Regional Super Leagues to the National First Division League, as no football was played for a period of 18 months, and as such, sporting merit could not be realized, because sporting merit dictates that you have to play to be in a certain position in order to qualify for the upper league, which could not be the case.
Gomez will also add that the new season will kickstart from the 8th of October together with the Women Football Association, and also the Super League games will be expected to start in November, but it is still under discussion with the government.
Commencing the new season earnestly on the 8th of October 2021. We do, however, like to highlight that the reintroduction of the game of football will be in a staggered fashion, firstly starting with the Premier League, the National First Division League, and the Women's Football National League on the weekend of the 8th, 9th, and 10th of October. Later on in the month of November, that is when we'll be looking at regional football, in particular the regional super leagues.
Mgomezulu says teams will be expected to provide negative test results for COVID-19, and he also encouraged all teams to start with registration of players. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patrice Msibi, Babane.
The Eswatini women's national team coach Dumsani Makanya says it will be important for them to get a win in their first game when they take on Zambia at the Women's COSAFA Cup, as that will set them up for an easy qualification to the next stage of the competition. The tournament is played in South Africa.
The Eswatini women's national team is currently in South Africa for the COSAFA Women's Championships, where they are in Group C along Zambia, Namibia and Uganda. The national team will play its first game against Zambia, who recently participated in the Tokyo Olympics. National team head coach Dumsani Makanya says it will be important for them to get the first win so that it can set them nicely for the qualification to the next stage. Makanya says it has been proven previously that winning the first game is always key, and it will boost the confidence of the players, and the team looks ready for the battle ahead as they will go to fight and represent the country well.
The game, if they win, kutawusisita kakhulu because kunoma ngithi wawina the first game, it bring you with confidence, kuyakusita vele kakhulu. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi badala ukuthi abasita kakhulu kuyiwina le game bakahle baphilile, ba-ready for the game. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi namhlanje siqale ama-preparation okugcina for the game, kude lophathekile, cishe bonke ba-ready for the game. Kwekugcina nje bengakusho ukuthi kunika emaswati ukuthi akasithandazele lokfuthi ukwatike ngebhola, nothing is impossible at all. Full of surprises.
The first game of the team will be played on the 30th of September and it will be broadcasted live on COSAFA TV. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patrice Msibi, Mbabane.
That's all for now. Before we conclude, let's have a look at our top stories. His Majesty King Mswati III has held private talks with the newly appointed United Kingdom Minister for Africa, Vicky Ford, at Lutsitsini Royal Residence. His Majesty King Mswati III has thanked the United Kingdom for strengthening its ties with the Kingdom of Eswatini through the British government's new foreign policy strategy, Global Britain. The Minister of Labour and Social Security has announced that there will be no scholarship selection interviews for the 2021-2022 pre-service tertiary and education loan applicants to minimize the spread of COVID-19. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the team here at Eswatini TV. Thank you for tuning in. Good night.
And your awards card, please.
It's the Spar Rewards Grand Cash Giveaway, where you can win instant cash to spend on what you want the most. Plus, get amazing savings like Cross and Blackwell Tangy Mayonnaise for only $27.99 or Huggies Dry Comfort Nappies Jumbo Pack for just $169.99. Win your share of thousands in cash instantly with the Spar Rewards Grand Cash Giveaway. Only Spar.